I didn't want to address it.
Yeah, sure.
I didn't want to address it. I wasn't going to address it. But since the video came out, I feel the need to address it.
Did LeBron James just call out Brittney Griner over a viral slur allegation? And did the WNBA try to sweep it under the rug? Because what started as a heated moment on the court has now spiraled into a full-blown controversy, one that's dividing fans, putting Brittney Griner under a microscope, and pulling one of the biggest names in basketball, LeBron James, straight into the fire. The moment? A tense game between the Indiana Fever and Phoenix Mercury. Griner fouls out, emotions are boiling, and cameras catch her mouthing something that millions of fans claim was a racial slur aimed directly at Caitlin Clark. Social media exploded. Headlines started flying. And now, allegedly, LeBron's response has people saying, "This went way too far." But what did he really say? And did Brittney Griner actually cross the line? Or is the internet twisting her words to ignite yet another firestorm? Let's break it all down. LeBron James doesn't just throw his name into controversy for the sake of drama. When he speaks, it usually means something big is happening. And now, fans are convinced he's quietly taken a stand in one of the most explosive WNBA storylines of the year. According to viral threads on Reddit and basketball forums, LeBron reportedly commented on the Brittney Griner situation in a private setting, allegedly telling someone close to him, "This went way too far." And those 5 words have been echoing ever since. The quote hasn't been published by ESPN, and there's no official tweet from LeBron himself. But the internet doesn't need confirmation when speculation already has momentum. Some fan, blogs, and podcasts are already dissecting the comment like it's gospel. One popular YouTube host claimed it came during a post-game exchange with reporters. Another alleged it was heard backstage during a Nike event. Whether true or not, the quote has stuck, and it's reshaping how fans are interpreting the entire drama. Now, what makes this moment so powerful is who it's coming from. LeBron James isn't just the face of the NBA. He's also a vocal advocate for social justice, racial equality, and women's sports. When Brittney Griner was detained in Russia in 2022, it was LeBron who used his platform to demand government action, sparking global media attention. He even questioned whether America was doing enough to protect its athletes overseas. His support of Griner was loud, unwavering, and sincere. So for the same man to now allegedly express concern that this situation, Griner's slur controversy involving Caitlin Clark, has gone too far, it's not just a reaction, it's a shift. And fans noticed. Some immediately interpreted LeBron's quote as a warning to the media. Stop twisting words, stop weaponizing race, and stop using Clark and Griner as clickbait punching bags. But others heard something different, a subtle rebuke of Griner herself, a sign that even her most powerful supporters might be uncomfortable with how she handled the moment. And then there's the third group, the ones who think LeBron is doing exactly what he's always done, carefully walking the line between accountability and unity. That maybe, just maybe, he's not picking a side, but trying to cool the fire before it burns the whole league down. Because make no mistake, this isn't just about a quote. It's about how that quote collided with one viral video, a 3-second clip that the internet now can't stop watching, pausing, slowing down, and arguing over. And that clip? It starts with Brittney Griner, a foul call, and a moment of raw emotion that may have flipped the WNBA upside down. The moment that sparked the entire controversy happened on May 24th, during what should have been a routine regular season matchup between the Indiana Fever and Phoenix Mercury. But with tensions high, the crowd buzzing, and the spotlight burning hotter than ever on Caitlin Clark, things quickly spiraled into something no one saw coming. Late in the game, Brittney Griner fouled out after a physical battle in the paint. She was clearly frustrated, not just with the refs, but possibly with the entire narrative building around Clark, who had drawn multiple fouls that night. As Griner walked toward the bench, cameras caught her mouthing something, quick, sharp, and fueled by emotion. And that's when the internet froze the frame. Within hours, clips began circulating on TikTok, X, and YouTube, all zeroing in on that split second. Fans began claiming Griner had said, "F King White Girl." Some slowed the footage down, others added subtitles. The phrase took on a life of its own, with millions convinced they had caught Griner launching a racial slur directly at Caitlin Clark in the heat of the moment. But here's the problem. The audio was never clear. There's no official mic'd up footage, no slow motion replay with verified sound, just shaky fan cams, amateur lip readers, and a storm of assumptions. Still, the fire was lit. Comment sections erupted. Accusations of racism flooded in. Commentators and influencers demanded accountability, and some fans even called on the WNBA to issue a suspension. But in the middle of the outrage, another question started to rise. Did Brittney Griner even say what people think she said? Or was this all one massive case of mistaken outrage? Because just as quickly as the backlash started, the pushback arrived too. Once that clip hit the internet, it was game over. The moment didn't just trend, it erupted. Within hours, the video of Brittney Griner's alleged slur was everywhere. TikTok edits slowed the footage down to milliseconds, zooming in on her lips with grainy clarity and bold captions. Did she just say what we think she said? YouTube Shorts had creators replaying the moment on loop with dramatic music and titles like Griner Exposed and WNBA Racism Controversy. Twitter, or X, was even worse. One tweet featuring the clip hit 3 million views in under 24 hours, with hashtags like Griner Racist and Protect Caitlyn trending alongside it. Fans weren't just debating what was said, they were declaring it, posting statements like, "There's no way this is okay. If this were reversed, the league would have exploded." Imagine if a white player said something like that to a black player. It'd be suspension city. It wasn't just casual fans either. Influencers, sports commentators, and political voices jumped in. Conservative activist Riley Gaines took to her platform, demanding an apology from Griner and accusing the media of turning a blind eye to what she called a clear case of racial double standards. And while the right was calling for punishment, the left was firing back, defending Griner, downplaying the clip, and accusing people of trying to start another culture war off a blurry lip reading. It didn't matter that the audio was unclear, or that the WNBA had made no official statement. In the court of public opinion, the trial was already underway, and every replay, every edit, every viral comment was fueling the flames. But not everyone was convinced Griner actually said those words. In fact, some people were going frame by frame, not to confirm the slur, but to disprove it. And what they found, it changed the conversation yet again. Just when it seemed like the entire internet had made up its mind, a wave of resistance came crashing in, and it wasn't quiet. Leading the charge was veteran sports journalist Jamili Hill, who flat out rejected the slur accusations. In a post that quickly gained traction, Hill claimed the internet had it completely wrong. According to her, Brittney Griner wasn't even talking about Caitlin Clark. Instead, Hill explained that Griner's frustration was directed at the referees, not the players, and the phrase people were twisting into F-King white girl was actually something closer to whack call, and she had receipts. Fans began reposting alternate angles of the moment, pointing out that Natasha Howard was the player who had just been whistled for the foul, not Clark. Griner was simply reacting to what she believed was a bad call against her teammate, not launching a personal attack on the Fever's rookie star. Others chimed in with side-by-side comparisons of different videos, arguing that confirmation bias was driving the outrage. People saw what they wanted to see, not what was actually there. And as those clips began to spread, a whole new narrative started gaining traction. This isn't racism, it's a bad case of internet hysteria. We're reading lips now? Since when did that become fact? Even professional lip readers and body language analysts weighed in, and the verdict, inconclusive at best. Some agreed it looked like she said F-King white girl. Others insisted it was, that's a whack call. And some just shrugged and said, there's no way to know for sure. But here's the thing, once the internet gets a taste of controversy, it doesn't let go easily. And even as voices like Hill tried to inject reason into the chaos, the storm had already grown too big for facts to settle it. And the division? It was only deepening. What started as a viral sports moment had now spiraled into something much bigger, a cultural war playing out in real time. It wasn't just about what Brittney Griner did or didn't say anymore. It became about what people wanted it to mean. On the right, commentators and influencers were quick to label the incident as a textbook example of double standards in sports media. Outlets like the Daily Wire and personalities like Riley Gaines and Clay Travis blasted the WNBA for allegedly ignoring racist behavior simply because it came from the wrong side of the political spectrum. If a white NBA player had said that to a black teammate, one viral post read, they'd be suspended before the buzzer even sounded. Some called for an immediate suspension. Others pushed for the WNBA to issue a formal apology to Caitlin Clark. Conservative media treated the incident as a symbol of everything wrong with what they called selective outrage. But on the left, the tone was completely different. Progressive. Commentators, journalists, and WNBA insiders were quick to defend Griner, not just from the accusation itself, but from what they saw as coordinated political targeting. They argued the outrage was less about justice and more about punishing Brittney Griner for being black, outspoken, and queer, and for not fitting into the hero versus villain narrative that the media had built around Caitlin Clark's rise. "This isn't about what she said," tweeted one high-profile sports writer. "It's about who people want her to be." Even WNBA players were reportedly split behind the scenes. Some supported Griner privately. Others, aware of the league's growing media attention and fragile reputation, were concerned the backlash could hurt everyone, especially if sponsors started pulling out or networks cooled on broadcasting games. The media, torn down the middle. Some networks treated it like breaking news. Others barely mentioned it at all. And just like that, a 3-second clip became a national talking point, not because of what was said, but because of what it revealed about how we view race, gender, and power in modern sports. And in the middle of that storm was LeBron, still silent, but with his rumored quote hanging in the air like a warning shot. This went way too far. But what would the league do next? Because silence wasn't going to keep the fire from spreading. When a viral scandal like this hits the sports world, reactions usually come from fans, influencers, and media outlets. But when LeBron James steps into the conversation, and even subtly, the tone shifts completely. Because LeBron isn't just a basketball player. He's a global brand, a cultural force, and someone who spent nearly 2 decades shaping the public discourse around race, equality, and athlete responsibility. So when that now infamous quote, "This went way too far," started circulating, people didn't take it lightly. To some, it was LeBron drawing a line in the sand, a signal that the Griner outrage had grown into something toxic, weaponized by political groups, twisted by online mobs, and turned into a spectacle that no longer had anything to do with truth. But others heard it differently. They saw it as a rare moment of accountability. That for someone who publicly supported Brittney Griner during her Russian detainment, to now call out her behavior, even implicitly, meant something had really crossed the line. And that duality is exactly what makes LeBron's presence so powerful. He's not a WNBA player. He didn't post a statement. He didn't tweet. But the idea that he weighed in at all gave people permission to question the situation from new angles. Some said, if LeBron's uncomfortable with this, maybe it really is a bad look for the league. Others argued, if LeBron's defending her, then this outrage is overblown nonsense. The reaction split fan bases, sports shows, and locker rooms. You had one group shouting, LeBron knows what's up. Griner's getting attacked for being herself. He's calling it out. And another arguing, even LeBron is trying to distance himself. That tells you all you need to know. Sponsors were watching. Broadcasters were watching. The WNBA itself? Still silent. But the LeBron quote became a turning point. Not because it ended the controversy, but because it forced people to stop and listen. And in a media environment flooded with rage, hype, and hot takes, that silence from LeBron, followed by one carefully leaked sentence, said more than a press release ever could. But as the smoke swirled around the controversy, one question lingered louder than the rest. Where was the WNBA in all this? Because fans wanted answers, and the league's next move would say everything, as the debate exploded across every corner of social media and cable news. One voice remained noticeably silent, the WNBA itself. No statement, no investigation, no clarification, nothing. For days, as hashtags trended and media shows dissected the situation from every angle, the league refused to even acknowledge the controversy. And that silence? It spoke volumes. Fans were stunned. Some took the silence as a sign the league was trying to protect one of its biggest stars, shielding Griner from fallout to avoid deeper scrutiny. Others saw it as a calculated move. Say nothing. Let the internet burn itself out, and hope the story dies before it hits the boardroom. But it didn't die. In fact, the silence made it worse. Commentators began openly questioning whether the WNBA was avoiding accountability because of who Griner is, a former #1 pick, Olympic gold medalist, and a symbol of resilience after surviving a Russian prison sentence. The same player the league had rallied around just a year earlier was now seemingly untouchable, and that double standard didn't sit well with everyone. Some asked the tough questions. If a white player had said something offensive to a black opponent, would the league be this quiet? If Caitlin Clark had been accused of using a racial slur, would we be seeing the same silence? Those questions echoed in comment sections, sports radio, and press rooms, and the WNBA's refusal to even address them became the story itself. Meanwhile, sponsors and networks kept their distance. No ad pulls, no on-air statements, just cautious watching. Even players seemed frustrated. According to anonymous league insiders, several were privately urging the WNBA to say something, anything, to calm the waters and stop the speculation. But leadership held the line, hoping to weather the storm, and maybe that's the most telling part of all. In a moment that could have been clarified, diffused, or corrected with a simple sentence, the WNBA chose to disappear. And in doing so, they may have created a deeper problem, one that goes beyond Griner, beyond Clark, and straight to the heart of the league's identity. Because when a scandal divides your fans, ignites culture war headlines, and pulls LeBron James into the narrative, silence isn't neutral, it's a decision. At this point, it was clear. This wasn't just about Brittney Griner or Caitlin Clark anymore. It had become a flashpoint, a mirror reflecting something much deeper about the state of American sports, and the uncomfortable conversations many people try to avoid. Because underneath the viral videos, the speculation, and the silence, there's a simple but powerful question driving all the outrage. Do the rules change depending on who you are? And in the eyes of many fans, the answer is yes. They see a league that's quick to discipline players for minor incidents, but completely silent when the controversy touches one of its biggest names. They see Caitlin Clark, a young white rookie, constantly criticized for being too confident or too privileged, while players like Griner are defended at all costs, even when caught in moments of questionable behavior. Others argue the opposite. They see Griner being targeted precisely because of who she is, a powerful, unapologetic black woman who's already been through hell overseas and now has to walk on eggshells in her own league. To them, this scandal isn't about accountability. It's about control, about silencing voices that don't fit the mold. And it's not just about race, it's about visibility. The WNBA is experiencing unprecedented attention. With Caitlin Clark's arrival, TV ratings have surged, ticket sales are up, and for the first time in years, casual fans are watching. But that spotlight comes at a cost. Every move is analyzed, every word becomes a headline, and when two of the league's most polarizing figures, Griner and Clark, are on the court together, the stakes feel even higher. Some fans believe the league is caught between protecting its veterans and capitalizing on new blood. Others think the media is fueling division, using race and rivalry to keep clicks coming. But regardless of which side you land on, the truth is this: the incident exposed the raw tensions simmering under the surface of women's sports. Tensions about identity, fairness, representation, and respect. And no matter how you slice it, the league's silence and LeBron's rumored quote made one thing painfully obvious. This was never just about a foul call. This was about who gets grace and who gets burned. In the end, a 3-second clip turned into a cultural flashpoint. Brittney Griner's frustration after a foul call sparked a viral storm that snowballed into accusations, backlash, and deep political division. The internet dissected every frame. Pundits picked sides, influencers made it personal, and somewhere in the middle of all that noise came a single voice that changed the tone: LeBron James. Whether he truly said this went too far or not, his presence in the conversation forced fans to stop and ask, what are we even fighting about anymore? Was this a moment of ugly, unfiltered truth? Or just another example of people twisting a blurry video to fit their favorite narrative? Is Brittney Griner being unfairly targeted for who she is? Or is the league turning a blind eye when accountability is needed the most? And perhaps the most important question of all, what does it say about us, the fans, the media, the league, when we're quicker to scream over what might have been said than to listen to what's actually happening? Because this wasn't just about words, it was about how fast outrage moves, how silence can say more than any statement, and how sometimes the people we expect to lead, whether it's Griner, Clark, or LeBron, are stuck navigating a storm that none of them started, but all of them are trapped inside. So now it's your turn. Do you think Brittney Griner crossed a line? Was LeBron defending her or calling her out? And should the WNBA have stepped in or stayed out of it? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Type Team Griner if you're backing Brittney. Type Team LeBron if you think his words nailed it. Or type Team Facts if you're just tired of the noise and want the truth. Either way, this story isn't over. And with every headline, clip, and reaction, the temperature just keeps rising. Hit that like button if you stayed through the fire. Subscribe if you want the full story, not just the viral moment. Because in today's game, it's not just about what you say, it's about who hears it and what they do with it.